So, Jussie Smollett has come out with a story a couple weeks ago about him being attacked, and I've been hesitant to give my opinion on this situation only because you don't want to seem like an individual who's so insensitive to the subject of hate crimes that you will go as far as to try to make claims to debunk said situation, because you know real people are actually affected by these things. So you kind of try to hang back a little bit. You don't want to be as cynical, as jaded as you naturally are. But I also didn't want to be unnecessarily outraged over something like this, because from the get-go, the story has seemed a little awkward. From the first moment I heard about this case, I was a little thrown off and perturbed by the idea that there would be people who are Trump supporters in the Windy City in a devastatingly cold climate at the time, devastatingly cold temperatures at the time of the attack, that would be walking around late at night like Jussie was randomly with rope and bleach to attack him. A guy on a show that's been running for quite a while now, whose numbers have been dwindling since the show aired. I figured if you were going to attack someone for being black and gay, you could find a more popular person to spread that MAGA message. Why would it be this guy, at least the way my brain works? But again, I refrained from giving a direct opinion, at least via social media, because that was already the place people went to go and do their fake outrage. And I won't call it completely fake, because people's emotions are, rightfully to be involved in a situation like this. People are going to be rightfully concerned about an issue like that. Fast forward a few weeks, and I searched the police report for this situation, and on the police report, I see descriptions of the men who Jussie described to the police. One of the things that threw me off was Jussie didn't want this recorded. He requested that the police that showed up to check up on him and get his story, he requested that they turn off their body cameras. I found that odd, because I wouldn't have a problem with that. If the story is true, who cares if you have your body camera on? But if he feels that his celebrity is too large to the extent that this information might leak out somehow, I guess that's fine. I thought it was a little strange that he wanted to wear the noose for the 45 minutes until the cops arrived. I thought it was strange that instead of calling the police, the first person you call would be your manager. And one of the reasons that he said that he didn't want to call the police in the interview that he gave to ABC News was, "I don't want to be portrayed as weak." He feels that too often gay men are portrayed as weak. But in my mind, if you are the victim of a hate crime and you're also in a situation where you aren't expected to be victorious, if you're going against multiple dudes, you're in a situation in extreme cold, you're off guard, like who's going to be expecting that? Especially you, who says you really have no idea where it came from. No one was expecting you to be strong. What would be being strong in that situation be? Winning? That would be even more unrealistic. But it's whatever. He made his case, he said what he said, and that was it. But going back to the police report, he mentioned to the police that these individuals attacked him. He described their height and how much he thought they weighed about. One of the things I didn't see on there was the color of these individuals. Now, I would love to be one of those individuals that believes that humans across the board, regardless of their race, have no distinguishable features, but one of the things that you can usually tell in someone's response, at least vocally, is if they are white or if they are black or if they are of a different ethnic group. Now, in the police report, he didn't describe that they had a race. He never described their race in the police report. However, he did say something that would imply that these individuals will likely be this race over this race by saying this is MAGA country. Not saying that Trump doesn't have any black supporters. I'm just saying that for the most part, when you mention MAGA in the slogan, it's not usually adopted by black figures or black people like that. So this would lead me to believe that the implication is that the people were more likely white than they were any other race. Then we get information about footage. These characters that we see literally have damn near no characteristics at all. Until a few days ago when we see that there are these two guys that aren't white that are people that the police were looking into. And they happily cooperated and implied, from what the police of, Chicago police are saying, implied that Jussie orchestrated this entire thing. So now let's backtrack for a second, and I go back, and in my brain, it doesn't make sense that a guy who just been attacked would first call his manager before calling the police. Why would someone do that? In my head, if I'm orchestrating an attack, and it's more of a career-based opportunity more than it is me being afraid, not knowing what to do, being frazzled because I just been the victim of a hate crime, it makes more sense if I'm doing this for my career that I will call my manager and ask, what do I do now? Keep in mind, in Jussie's interview, he says, verbatim, I am a male. I didn't want them going through my phone. I have pictures, I have videos, I have private messages, all this stuff. He's alluding to him wanting to keep his privacy. And as an individual that has a bit of fame behind them, maybe he wanted to keep that private. Cool. But you're acting as if the police are your fans. In the police report, it says that Jussie had to explain that he was a part of a show called Empire. That kind of states in my mind that you anticipated the police not knowing who you were at all. Again, you got to keep in mind, the police probably only wanted your phone for a couple of hours to go through it, just because they wanted to see who you've been calling recently, to see if this was something that was a planned attack against you. Maybe we can link this to this. Maybe we can get this solved faster. His reasoning for wanting to go to Subway was strange because he says that his manager had no food in that apartment. It's fucking negative 55 degrees outside with the wind chill is probably below 250. That wouldn't make me walk to Subway. Like, my first pick wouldn't be, let me go walk to Subway when there's apps that exist like Uber Eats and Grubhub. I don't know how they do things in Chicago. Every Subway near me closes at about 11 p.m. I don't know what he's talking about when he says 24 hours, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're open that long over there. I don't know. I just know my first pick to go get some food ain't gonna be fucking Subway, because most rational people in the world know that Subway fucking sucks. The next thing that Jussie says in his interview that I found extremely weird was that he said if the people who done this were Muslim, Mexican, or black, the doubters would likely be on his side. However, he also never stated that they were white. So what made it seem like he had said from the beginning that they were always white, and he never said that. It's like in his head, the mental image that he has of them is that they're white, but he never came out and said it, which makes more sense for this being orchestrated, in my opinion, because when you actually question the two people that police did, Chicago police, they're black. What better way to frame it and make it look like these are two white guys than for the two white guys who supposedly did this to have never existed in the first place? You know how much blame you can put on somebody that doesn't fucking exist? You're probably wondering why I'm talking about an actor on this channel, because you would imagine this has nothing to do with music, but I'm not so sure. Musically, Jussie has a pretty strong and obvious anti-Trump campaign going on. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Talk about whatever you want to talk about in your music. That's your right as an artist. I do think it's a little easy going against targets that majority or masses already hates anyway. So you're not really getting any brownie points from me in doing that. Again, this is coming from a guy who initially had massive sympathy for Jussie, but refrained from giving an opinion until I heard the full story. Jump over the fact that while on stage he needed reading notes to know what he had literally just been through a week prior. Jump over the fact that during his interview, his most recent one, he pretty much responded to the criticisms of the attack that he described more than he did give information or insight into what actually happened or why he did most of what he did. Skip over the fact that if he did give a reason for what he did, it didn't really make much sense. This all sounds like it would have been on an episode of Empire. Why, out of all the cities that you could be in, would you go at night, in the middle of the night, in Arctic temperatures, to go get food from one of the worst fast food joints known to man, not only at that late hour and at those cold temperatures, but by yourself, and immediately run into two dudes in Chicago, in a majority Democratic city, that will yell out, "This is MAGA country," and then have random rope on them and bleach? Your response to this is to keep it on as evidence, as if police showing up and them getting you with bruises around your neck and cuts on your face wouldn't be enough, requesting those officers turn off their body cam and then denying them access to your cell phone so that they can further the investigation. I'm telling y'all, man, this sounds like something to make you watch Empire, and it ain't working. Because I stopped watching that probably in the first season when it first came out. All it does is make black people look terrible. I don't know who in their right mind is really watching that show, but that's neither here nor there. Y'all gotta keep in mind, I'm not even saying that this situation is fake because I don't like Jussie, because obviously I don't know the dude, but I think it disparages anyone who's willing to come forward who is in his exact same position but has nowhere near the amount of fame, even though what he has, in consider if we're talking about fame, even though what he has isn't that much, just discourages anyone in his position from coming forward if they were attacked. Or it encourages those who are actually racist to make their attack that much harsher, so that the people that they do attack won't want to come forward because they're afraid of the repercussions. Either way, it just made it seem like the people involved in this orchestrated attempt, because in my opinion now, to me, it's orchestrated. It makes it seem like they chose a safe route. What's something that people won't question in today's liberal progressive society? Racism and bigotry in any form, and that includes him being gay and black. So if someone questions that, they look like the bad guy. And also, let's sprinkle a little bit more on top and say, hey, they believe in MAGA. A bunch of progressive liberals hate Donald Trump. What's the best way to get them on our side? Hate Donald Trump. Make it seem like it was a Donald Trump hate crime against you for being gay and black, and there you go. We got a story that we don't even have to validate with any kind of proof, because we assume that the police are going to end up dropping this because we paid someone to do it. Wait, they were, and they went in and they went and said, Jussie paid us to attack him. Whatever the reason is, it's so grimy. It's grimy, it's nasty, it's dusty, it's dirty, it's all of that. And if it's true that the story is fake, Jussie needs to be charged. And no amount of people guilting me because I'm a minority into somehow being for the guy is gonna work. Because again, I'm for facts. I'm not for blindly following people because they look like me. And I know for a fact, if I catch you in negative 20-degree weather, I'm beating your ass and I'm taking your sandwich that you got from Subway. I'm not even gonna eat it. I'm just gonna throw it on the ground and smash it, because no one needs to eat that. Before people go crazy in the comments talking about, oh, but he was teary-eyed and he was all confessional in his interview, I'm not forgetting that this dude is still an actor. He gets paid to invoke emotion at the drop of a dime. I'm not impressed. All in all, this whole situation gave me a headache, and I've been thinking about it since January 29th when I first heard the story, and I didn't want all that brain power to go to waste, so I decided to make a video about it. Yeah, I'm publicly saying I don't believe it, but I feel happy now that I can say it in public and it not be a big deal, because I just wanted somebody else to say it first, and once I saw the headline that other people were denying it, I was like, cool, now I don't feel crazy. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next time. And somebody need to get this dude. Not get him, because I don't want him to make it seem like that was a hate crime too.